Mrs. Trotter! Hurry!
Oh, can't we just sit down and rest?
Rest? When Escaped Rhinoceros is trying to eat us up?
But I'm tired!
Don't be ridiculous! It's gaining on us! Hurry!
Somebody help us!
Please, help!
Oh, I think it's coming! I don't think we're going to make it, Mr. Trotter!
No, neither do I. Well, goodbye.
Wow, what a beginning to a story.
Can you believe that? Well, I'm sorry that we had to start the story off with such a terrible event.
But we just had to tell you.
It's because of this event that the story happened. You see, life was really great for our hero.
James Henry Trotter.
Until this happened to his parents.
No, well, he was sent away with his two aunts, Aunt Sponge
And Aunt Spiker.
Correct. And I'm sorry to point out, but I must. They were both really horrible people.
They were selfish and lazy and cruel.
And right from the beginning, they started beating poor James for almost no reason at all.
They never called him by his real name, but always referred to him as, "You miserable creature!"
Or, "You disgusting little beast!"
Or you filthy nuisance!
And they certainly never gave him any toys to play with or any books to look at or read.
His room was as bare as a prison cell.
They lived, Aunt Sponge,
Aunt
Aunt
Spiker,
Spiker,
And now James as well.
in a queer, ramshackle house on the top of a high hill in the south of England.
The hill was so high that from anywhere in the garden, James could look down and see miles and miles of marvelous woods and fields.
And on a very clear day, if he looked in the right direction, he could see the sea itself, like a line of ink beneath the rim of the sky.
Then came a morning where something rather peculiar happened.
Aunt Spiker, Aunt Sponge, and James were all in the garden. James was put to work, as usual.
This time he was chopping wood for the kitchen stove.
Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker were sitting comfortably in deck chairs nearby, sipping tall glasses of fizzy lemonade and watching James to make sure he didn't stop work for one moment.
Let's take a closer look at what's happening.
I look and smell, I do declare, as lovely as a rose. Just feast your eyes upon my face, observe my shapely nose. Behold my heavenly silky locks, and if I take off both my socks, you'll see my dainty toes.
But don't forget, my dear old Sponge, how much your tummy shows. Why, Sponge, you're red. Go soak your head. My sweet, you cannot win. Behold, my gorgeous, curvy shape, my teeth, my charming grin. Oh, beauteous me, how I adore my radiant looks, but please ignore the pimple on my chin.
My dear old trout, to the world I'll shout, you're only bones and skin. Such loveliness as I possess can only truly shine in Hollywood, I do declare. Oh, wouldn't that be fine? I'd capture all the nation's hearts. They'd give me all the leading parts. The stars would all resign.
I think you'd make, without mistake, a lovely Frankenstein. What's the matter with you?
Gee, Aunt Spiker, I feel as if I'm going to faint.
Stop that immediately and get on with your work, you nasty little beast.
Oh, Auntie Sponge and Auntie Spiker, couldn't we all, please, just for once, go down to the seaside on the bus? It isn't far, and I feel so hot and awful and lonely.
Why, you lazy, good-for-nothing brute! so hot. Now, be off with you, you hideous brat, and give me some peace.
It was at this point in our story, the first thing.
The rather peculiar thing happened to James.
Boo! Come closer to me, little boy. Come right up close to me, and I will show you something wonderful. You see this? You know what this is, my dear? You know what's inside this bag? Take a look, my dear. Listen to them. Listen to them move. There is more power and magic in these little green things than in all the rest of the world put together.
But, what are they? Where do they come from?
Aha! You'd never guess that. Crocodile tongues. 1,000 long, slimy crocodile tongues, boiled in the skull of a dead witch for 20 days and nights with the eyeballs of a lizard. At the fingers of a young monkey, the gizzard of a pig, the beak of a green parrot, the juice of a porcupine, and 3 spoonfuls of sugar. Stew for another week and then let the moon do the rest. Here, take it. It's yours. Now, all you have to do is this. Take a large jug of water and pour all the little green things into it. Then, very slowly, one by one, add 10 hairs from your own head. This sets them off. In a couple of minutes, the water will begin to froth and bubble ferociously. And as soon as that happens, you must quickly drink it all down, the whole jug full, in one gulp. And then, my dear, you will feel it begin to churn and boil in your stomach, and the steam will start coming out of your mouth, and immediately after that, marvelous things will start happening to you. Fabulous, unbelievable things. And you will never be miserable again in your life. Because you are miserable, aren't you? You needn't tell me. I know all about it. Now, off you go. Do exactly as I say. Don't let any of those little green things in there get away from you. Because if they do escape, they'll be working their magic upon somebody else instead of upon you. Whoever they meet first, be it bug, insect, animal, or tree, that will be the one that gets the full power of their magic. Now, off you go. Hurry up. Don't wait. Now's the time. Hurry!
Oh no! What am I gonna do? Well, I suppose I could try to pick them. Wait a minute. Why, they're burrowing themselves into the ground. I can't seem to get them. I can't get them. And now they're gone. They're all gone. But where have they gone to? There's nothing down there except the roots of an old peach tree and a whole lot of centipedes and earthworms and other kinds of insects.
Get up! At once, you lazy little beast, and finish chopping up those logs!
Why don't we just lower the boy down the well in a bucket and leave him there for the night? That ought to teach him not to laze around the whole day long.
That is a very good idea, my dear Sponge, but let's make him finish chopping up the wood first. Sponge! Sponge! Come over here and look at this.
At what?
A peach! Right up there on the highest branch.
You're teasing me, Spiker. You're making my mouth water on purpose when there's nothing to put in it. That tree's never had a blossom. I don't want a peach.
There's one on it now, Sponge. Come over here and look for yourself.
Very funny. Ha, ha. Good gracious me. There really is a peach up there.
Now, it's at this point in our story that James feels that something rather peculiar is going to happen at any moment.
Hey! You! Come over here at once and climb this tree. I want you to pick that peach up there on the highest branch. Can you see it?
Yes, Auntie Sponge. I can see it.
And don't you dare to eat any of it yourself. Your Aunt Spiker and I are gonna have it between us right here and now. Up with you. On you go. Up, 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 up.
Stop! Hold everything! Look, Sponge, look!
What's the matter with you?
It's growing! It's getting bigger and bigger.
What is?
The peach, of course!
But, my dear Spiker, that's perfectly ridiculous. That's impossible. That's... Great Scott, that thing really is growing!
Great Caesar's ghost! I can actually see the thing bulging and swelling before my very eyes!
Will it ever stop growing?
Get away from the tree trunk, you stupid boy! The slightest shake and it will fall off and break!
Stay right down! I can't believe it, but the branch isn't breaking. Terrifico, magnifico, splendifico! And what a meal! It's ripe. It's just perfect. Now, see here, Spiker. Why don't we go and get us a shovel and dig a great big hunk of that for you and me to eat?
No, not yet.
But I can't wait to eat some.
My dear Sponge, there is a pile of money to be made only if we do this right. You wait and see. Roll up, only 10 cents to see the giant peach!
A prize for children under 2 weeks.
Don't push, you're all going to get in!
Hey, it'll cost you double to bring in the camera! Aren't you glad we put bars on that James's window?
Yes, the little brute would only get in our way if we let him wander about.
Can you believe that he complained that he was lonely just because he hasn't met any other children for years and years?
What a nerve! Here we are, about to become millionaires, and the only thing that he can think of is himself.
Gee, looks like everybody's gone home. Maybe we should close up for the night, Spiker.
Maybe you're right, Sponge. I'll have the brat clean up out here.
He'll probably want something to eat since he hasn't eaten all day long.
Well, he'd better not ask. We're too busy to make food. We have to count up our money. I'd better call him to make sure that the little worm isn't asleep. Creep! Brat! Wake up, twerp! We have something for you to do immediately!
You broke the fence, Spiker.
Shut up, Sponge!
Gee, it really is dark out here tonight. I don't even hear a sound. It's strangely quiet. Boy, am I hungry. I suppose I should be more considerate of my aunts, though. Auntie Spiker says that all I do is think about myself. Maybe she's right. Gee, it's kind of spooky.
Can you imagine how James feels right now?
Have you ever been out alone?
on a dark and quiet night?
Well, Here's where James knows.
He can just feel it in his bones.
That's something stranger than ever.
It's about to happen. He's sure of it.
He can feel it coming.
Everything is so different. Suddenly, the whole place seems to be alive with magic. Wow, it feels so soft and warm. It's a little furry, like the skin of a baby mouse. What's this? I don't believe it, but there seems to be a hole in the side of the peach. And it's quite a large hole. The sort of thing an animal the size of a fox might make. This isn't just a hole. It's a tunnel. Wow. It really is damp and murky in here. These walls are wet and sticky. And it tastes like peach juice dripping from the ceiling. Delicious. Now it's going uphill, towards the very center. Ouch! What's this? It seems like a solid wall. It feels like wood, except that it's very jagged and full of deep grooves. Good grief! I know what this is. I've reached the stone in the middle of the peach. And here is what appears to be an opening cut into the face of the stone. Let's see. There! What's this light? Oh, look who's here!
We've been waiting for you.
Oh, no. No.
I'm hungry. I'm famished.
So am I.
Everyone's famished. We need food.
Aren't you hungry?
What's the matter with you? You look positively ill.
He looks as though he's going to faint any second.
Oh my goodness! The poor thing. I do believe he is thinking it is him we are wanting to eat. Oh, you mustn't be frightened. We wouldn't dream of hurting you. You're one of us now, didn't you know that? You're one of the crew. We're all in the same boat.
We've been waiting for you all day long. We thought you would never turn up. We're glad you made it.
Oh, cheer up, my boy, cheer up. And meanwhile, I wish you'd come over here and give me a hand with these boots. Takes me hours to get them off all by myself.
Well, you have a lot of boots.
I have a lot of legs and a lot of feet. 100 to be exact. I am a centipede, you know.
There he goes again. He simply cannot stop telling lies about his legs. He's only got 42, you know. The problem is that most people don't bother to count them. And anyway, there's nothing marvelous, you know, centipede about having a lot of legs.
Poor earthworm. He's blind, you know. He can't see how splendid I look.
In my opinion, the really only marvelous thing is to have no legs at all and to be able to walk the same.
You call that walking? You're a slitherer, that's all you are. You just slither along.
I glide.
You are a slimy beast.
I am not a slimy beast. I am a useful and much-loved creature. Ask any gardener you like. And as for you...
I am a pest.
He is so proud of that, and for the life of me, I cannot understand why. Oh, please excuse me. My name is Ladybug.
Pleased to meet
I am the only pest in this room. Unless you count old green grasshopper, but he's too old to be a pest anymore.
Young fellow, I am Grasshopper, who is rather old, but not a pest. I am a musician.
Well said, old green grasshopper. And in case you haven't guessed by now, my name is Spider.
James. Your name is James, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, James, have you ever in your life seen such a marvelous, colossal centipede as me?
I certainly haven't. How on earth did he get to be like that?
Very peculiar. Very, very peculiar indeed. I was messing about in the garden underneath the old peach tree, and suddenly a funny little green thing came wriggling past my nose.
Oh, but I know what that was.
It happened to me too. And me. Suddenly there were these little green things everywhere. The soil was full of them.
I actually swallowed one.
So did I!
I swallowed 3, but
Who's telling this story anyway? Don't interrupt!
Not now, Centipede. Why don't you go upstairs and get started?
What's going on?
In case you haven't guessed by now, we are about to depart from the top of this ghastly hill that we have all lived on for so long. We are about to go rolling inside this great, big, beautiful peach to a land of
what?
Never you mind. But nothing can be worse than this desolate hilltop and those two repulsive aunts of yours.
Hear, hear! And you may not have noticed it, but this whole garden, even before it reaches the edge of the steep hill, happens to be on a steep slope. And therefore, the only thing keeping us here from the very beginning is the thick stem attaching us to that tree. Break the stem and off we go.
I've done it! We're off, the journey begins.
And who knows where we'll end up. If you have anything to do with it, it can only mean trouble.
Nonsense. We are about to visit the most marvelous places and see the most wonderful things. Isn't that so, Centipede?
There is no knowing what we shall see. We may see a creature with 49 heads who lives in the desolate snow, and whenever he catches a cold, which he dreads, he has 49 noses to blow. Ugh. We may see a dragon, and nobody knows that we won't see a unicorn there. We may see a terrible monster with toes growing out the tufts of his hair. We may see the sweet little bitty bright hen, so playful, so kind and well-bred, and such beautiful eggs, why you just boil them and then they explode and they blow off your head. But who cares? Let us go from this horrible hill, let us roll, let us bowl, let us plunge. Let's go rolling and bowling and spinning until we're away from old Spiker and Sponge.
Why are we up so early, Spiker? Why, it's still dark outside.
Well, my dear Sponge, if an early bird can catch a worm, then the two early aunts can catch the suckers.
Ah. 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 I don't get it, Spiker. What do you mean?
Money. Sponge. We are out here to make money. Get it? Make money. M-O-N-E-Y! We shall make a fortune today. Just look at all of those people coming up the hill.
Ew. Are we sure we want them here? I wonder what did happen to that horrid little boy of ours last night. He never did come back in, did he?
Maybe he fell down in the dark and broke his leg.
Or his neck! Maybe.
Maybe. He is never going to want to stay out late by the time I have finished with him. Sponge, what is that awful noise?
Spiker, I know this sounds silly, but it looks as if the fences and the peach is.
Are you ill, Sponge?
And the fences.
Are you? Are you? Well, you certainly must be. Oh no. Oh no, it can't be!
Move, Spiker, out of my way!
Out of my way, Sponge! Me first! Me first!
No! No! Ah! Out of my way, Spiker!
You must certainly be able to run faster than that!
My little twigs aren't going any faster than you, baby!
Oh, if I could pop you like a balloon, I would!
You're gonna squish me, Spiker!
Hopefully, Sponge!
Slow down! It's gonna get you first!
You know Mother always loved me more!
I wonder what that noise was.
Well, anyway, you'll never believe it, but the giant peach is still moving.
It's rolling and bouncing down the steep slope at an immense pace.
It's going faster and faster and faster.
And the crowds of people climbing up the hill have suddenly caught sight of the peach plummeting down upon them and started screaming and scattering to the right and left.
It's just knocked over a telegraph pole and flattened 2 parked cars.
It's rushing madly across about 20 fields. Just look at all those cows and sheep and horses and pigs stampeding in all directions.
Hey, you would scatter too if the giant peach was coming down upon you.
Wouldn't you?
Oh dear, it's rolling right through that village.
I don't believe it, but it just went crashing through one of the Wonka Bucket chocolate factory walls.
In fact, there is now a great river of warm, melted chocolate flowing through every street in the village.
Will it ever stop?
But then, why should it?
A round object will always keep on rolling and as long as it is on a downhill slope.
Oh, wait! There's the sea! Surely the Peach and Doll's occupants aren't going to end up there.
I know James and all of his friends wanted to visit the sea, but I don't think this is what they had in mind.
It's heading for those towering white cliffs that are the famous in the whole of England.
They're hundreds of feet high.
And below them the sea is deep and cold
and
hungry.
Many ships and men have been swallowed up and lost forever on this part of the coast. It's now only 100 feet away from the cliff.
Now 50.
Now 20.
Now 10.
Now 5.
It's gone over. Down, 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 down.
What a colossal splash.
Wow, it sank like a stone.
But wait. I see something. Yes.
Something? What?
I see...
What?
Yes?
Look over there.
Let's have some light.
Yes! Light! Give us some light, glowworm!
Glowworm? I never met a glowworm in here.
That's because he was up on the slimy ceiling, the lazy beast. Although now that you mention his name, he doesn't really look much like a worm, does he?
I am not a worm. I am not a he either. I am simply a lady firefly without wings.
Big deal. Now come on, give us some more light.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Just be patient. There.
Some great journey.
Oh, I shall never be the same again.
Nor I. It's taken years off my life.
But, my dear friends, we are there!
Where? Where is there?
I do not know, but I'll bet it's somewhere good.
We're probably at the bottom of a coal mine.
Perhaps we are in the middle of a beautiful country, full of songs and music.
Or near the seaside, with lots of other children down on the sand for me to play with.
Pardon me, but am I wrong in thinking that we seem to be bobbing up and down?
Bobbing up and down. What on earth do you mean?
You're still dizzy from the journey. Why don't we all go upstairs and take a look around?
I refuse to show myself out of doors in my bare feet. I have to get my boots on again first.
Enough of that nonsense. Can't you ever stop thinking about your feet?
Let's all lend the centipede a hand and get this over with.
And while you're doing that, I'll weave a ladder to help get us out of here.
Yeah. All right!
Everyone up, let's go.
Centipede, you are a menace.
What? This is impossible!
I told you we were bobbing up and down.
We're in the middle of the sea.
What?
The sea?
Where's England?
Ladies and gentlemen, we seem to have found ourselves in a rather awkward situation.
Awkward? We're finished. I may be blind, but I can see that quite clearly.
Off with my boots! I can't swim with my boots on.
I can't swim at all.
Nor can I.
Nor I.
But we won't have to swim. We are floating beautifully, and sooner or later a ship is bound to come along and pick us up.
What do you mean?
Sure, boy.
We're sinking.
Of course. I'm sure. Go and look for yourselves.
The boy is quite right. We are floating beautifully. Now we all must sit down and keep calm. Everything will be all right in the end.
You must be crazy. Nothing is ever all right in the end, and you all know it.
Poor Earthworm. He loves to make everything into a disaster. He hates to be happy.
If this peach is not going to sink, and if we're not going to drown, then we shall starve to death instead.
By golly, he's right! For once, he's right!
Of course. I'm always right. We shall get thinner and thinner and thirstier. I am dying already. I'm slowly shriveling up for the want of food. Personally, I'd rather drown.
But you must be blind.
How cruel. You very well know I'm blind. You don't have to rub it in.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. But can't you see that?
See? How can I see if I am blind?
Can't you realize that we have enough food here to last us for weeks and weeks?
What do you mean? Where?
It is not in here.
Why, the peach, of course. Our whole ship is made of food.
Oh my goodness, he's right! You are so clever, James. What would we do without him?
You can't eat the ship. It's the only thing that's keeping us up.
We shall starve if we don't.
And we shall drown if we do.
Oh dear. Worse off than before!
You can eat all you want. It'll take weeks and weeks before we put any sort of dent in this enormous peach. Surely you can see that.
Oh dear, he's right again.
An excellent idea.
What are you looking so worried about, Earthworm? What's the problem?
The problem is... Well... The problem is that there is no problem.
Oh,
It's all right.
feel better.
So pessimistic all the time.
Stop. Delicious!
It's just fabulous!
Oh my. You know, James, this peach is even better than those tiny little green flies that live on rose bushes.
And flies were never as good as this.
What a flavor! It's terrific. There's nothing like it. There never has been. And I would know because I personally have tasted all the finest foods in the world. I've eaten fresh mud burgers by the greatest cooks there are, and scrambled dregs and stink bugs' eggs and hornets stewed in tar, and pails of snails and lizards' tails and beetles by the jar. A beetle is improved by just a splash of vinegar. Crispy wafflings on a piece of buttered toast, and pickled spines of porcupines, and then a gorgeous roast of dragon's flesh well hung, not fresh. It comes a pound at most, and comes to you in barrels if you order it by post. It comes to you in barrels if you order it by post. For dinner on my birthday, shall I tell you what I chose? Hot noodles made of poodles on a slice of garden hose, and a rather smelly jelly made of armadillo's toes. The jelly is delicious, but you have to hold your nose. Now comes, I do declare, the burden of my speech. These foods are rare beyond compare, some are just out of reach. But there's no doubt I'd go without 1,000,000 plates of each for one small mite. One small bite. One tiny bite. Of this fantastic peach. Of this fantastic peach. things gliding through the water over there.
There are 2 of them.
There are lots of them.
What are they?
Probably some kind of fish. Come along to say hello.
They're sharks. I'll bet you anything you like they're sharks and they've come to eat us up.
What absolute rot.
I'm positive they're sharks. I just know they're sharks.
Ahem. Just assuming that they are sharks, there still can't possibly be any danger if we stay up here. Now, is there?
Look! They're swimming toward us! Look at the size of their jaws! They're attacking! It will go eat up the entire beach, and then there'll be nothing left for us to stand on, and then they'll start on us!
I don't want to be eaten, but they'll go for me first because I'm so fat and juicy and I have no bones.
Surely you can think of a way out of this.
Think, James, think!
There is something I believe we might try.
What is it?
I'm not saying it'll work.
Tell us quickly.
We'll do anything you say, but hurry! Hurry, hurry, hurry!
Be quiet and let the boy speak. Go on, James.
I'm afraid it's no good. I'm terribly sorry. I forgot. We don't have any string. We need hundreds of yards of string to make this work.
But my dear boy, that's exactly what we do have.
How? Where?
The silkworm. Didn't you ever notice the silkworm? She just lies there all day.
Yes, she never moves. She just lies here all day long. But we can easily wake her and make her spin.
And what about me, may I ask? I can spin just as well as any silkworm, and what's more, I can spin patterns.
Can you make enough between you?
As much as you want.
And quickly?
Of course, of course.
And would it be strong?
The strongest there is.
But why? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna lift this peach clear out of the water.
Oh, we're
Only
doomed.
chance.
Go on, James. How are you going to do it?
Sky hooks, I suppose.
Seagulls. The place is full of them. Look up there. I'm gonna take a long silk string and I'm gonna loop it around a seagull's neck. Then I'm gonna take the other end and I'm gonna tie it to the stem of the peach. Then I'm gonna grab another seagull and do the same thing again. Then another and another.
Ridiculous. How do you expect a couple seagulls to be able to lift this enormous thing as well as all of us?
Oh no. Well, there is no shortage of seagulls. Look for yourselves. It'll probably take 400, 500, maybe even 1,000. I don't know. I shall simply go on hooking them up to the stem of the peach until we have enough to lift us. It's like balloons. You give someone enough balloons to hold, I mean really enough, then up he goes. And luckily for us, seagulls have far more lifting power than a balloon does. If only we had the time to do it.
You must be off your head. How on earth do you propose to get a loop of string around a seagull's neck? You're gonna fly up there yourself and catch it?
The boy is Dottie.
Let him finish. Go on, James. How are you going to do it?
With bait.
Bait? What sort of bait?
Why, a worm, of course.
No.
Seagulls love worms. Didn't you know that? And luckily for us, we have the biggest, fattest, juiciest earthworm.
You can stop right there.
Keep going.
The seagulls have already spotted him. That's why there's so many of them circling around. But they daren't come to get him while the rest of us are standing here. So this is what we'll do.
Stop! I won't do it! I refuse!
Dear earthworm, you're going to be eaten anyway, so what difference does it make whether
I
it's
won't
the sharks or the
Do
seagulls?
it!
Why don't we hear the plan first?
I don't give a hoot what the plan is. I'm not gonna be pecked to death by a bunch of seagulls.
You will be a martyr. I shall respect you for the rest of my life.
But he won't have to give his life. Now listen to me. This is what we'll do. 6 eagles.
Guys, the
One
silkworm.
silk string.
Okay.
Oh, I shall be pecked to death. I will. I know I will. And I won't be able to see them coming because I have no eyes.
I won't let them touch you. I promise I won't. But we've got to hurry. Look down there. Action stations. jump to it. There's not a moment to lose. All hands below deck except Earthworm.
Get up there!
And you, Centipede, get that silkworm to work at once. Tell him to spin as he's never spun before. And you too, Spider, hurry on down. Start spinning.
Come on, it's time to wake up.
Spin as you've never spun before!
Yeah! Come on, we gotta spin! Earthworm! Not that difficult! Earthworm! Stay top! Wiggle! Wiggle more! Come on, won't kill me! Be quiet! Come on!
This is the 502nd seagull. I think this one will do it.
Oh, I don't like this at all, James. Hurry!
Quiet down, Earthworm! You should be thankful that you're still alive!
All because James had such an incredible idea.
Yes, I marvel at him. Just think. Capturing seagulls by using bait. Yes, it's a splendid idea.
Not if you're the bait.
It's working. It's working. I can feel us lifting. Come on up, everyone. Look around. It's working. It's working.
Oh, we're flying! No, you're not.
Oh, what a marvelous feeling. And I'm not hurt.
You were very brave, Earthworm.
Goodbye, sharks!
Oh boy, this is the way to travel.
Why, you can almost see forever from up here.
How can you see?
Look there. There's a ship below us.
Looks like a big one.
It's got 3 funnels.
3, 1, 2.
You can even see people on the decks.
Let's wave to them. Do you think they can see us?
Wow! What an adventure.
Can you believe it?
Now, neither James nor any of the others know it, but the ship that is passing beneath them is actually the Queen Mary, sailing out of the English Channel on her way to America.
And on board of the bridge of the Queen Mary stands the astonished captain with a group of his officers, all gaping at the round object hovering overhead.
I don't like it.
Nor do I, sir. Do you think it's following us?
I tell ya, I don't like it.
It could be dangerous.
That's it. It's a secret weapon. Holy cats! Send a message to the Queen at once. The country must be warned. And give me my telescope. There are birds everywhere. The sky is teeming with birds. What in the world are they doing? Wait a minute. There are people on it. I can see them moving. There's do I have this darn thing focused properly? Looks like a little boy in short trousers. Yes, I distinctly see a little boy in short trousers standing up there. There's a sort of giant ladybug.
Now, wait just a minute, Captain.
And a colossal green grasshopper.
Captain, please.
And a mammoth spider.
Oh, dear. He's been at the whiskey. Again.
And a simply enormous centipede.
Call the ship's doctor. The captain is not well. Get help quickly. But look, it's disappearing behind those thick clouds. Now we'll never see it again. Never mind that. The captain has flipped his lid. He has popped his cork. I'm the captain. Now get him off the bridge and take him below, because he is sick. Sick, sick, sick!
I wonder where we'll end up this time.
Who cares? Seagulls always go back to the land sooner or later.
Didn't it seem as if the people on that ship got really excited when they saw us? But then, I suppose we probably did appear a little peculiar.
What do you mean, James?
Well, what I mean is...
What he means is that we look mighty strange to a bunch of human beings. I mean, think. They've got ears on the sides of their heads.
Doesn't everybody?
Nope. Where, for example, do you suppose I keep my ears?
Oh, I don't know.
Right here! One on each side of my belly!
And I swallow soil.
And without charging a penny, I gobble up all the nasty little insects that are gobbling up all the farmers' crops. I am the farmer's best friend.
Oh, I think you're wonderful. It seems that if almost everyone around here is loved. How nice this is.
Not me. I'm a pest, and I'm proud of it. Oh, I'm such a shocking, dreadful pest.
Here, here.
But what about you, Spider? Aren't you also much loved in this world?
Oh no, I am not loved at all. And yet, I do nothing but good. All day long, I sit and catch flies and mosquitoes in my webs. I am a decent person.
I know you are.
It is very unfair the way spiders are treated. Why, just the other day, your own horrible Aunt Sponge flushed my poor dear dad down the drain in the bath. I watched the whole thing from a corner in the ceiling. It was ghastly.
But isn't it unlucky to kill a spider?
Of course it's unlucky to kill a spider. Look what happened to Aunt Sponge after she done that. Bump. We all felt it, didn't we, as the peach went over her?
It was very satisfactory. Would you sing us a song about it, please?
Yes. Yeah. Aunt Sponge was terrifically fat and tremendously flabby at that. Her tummy and waist were soggy as paste. It was worse on the place where she sat. So she said, I must make myself flat. I must make myself sleek as a cat. I shall do without dinner to make myself thinner. But along came the peach. Oh, the beautiful peach. And made her far thinner than that.
That was very lovely. Would you sing one about Aunt Spiker?
With pleasure. Aunt Spiker was thin as a wire. She was dry as a bone, only drier. She was so long and thin, if you carried her in, you could use her for poking the fire. I must do something quickly, she frowned. I want fat, I want pound upon pound. I will eat lots and lots of marshmallows and chocs till I start bulging out all around. Ah, yes, she announced, I have sworn that I'll alter my figure by dawn. Cried the peach with a snicker, I'll alter your figure, and ironed her out on the lawn.
It's getting colder and darker. Why don't we all go below and rest until morning?
No! I think that would be very unwise. We should all stay up for the night and keep watch. That way, if anything happens, we shall be ready for it.
Well, I see that James Henry Trotter and his companions are all crouched close together to keep warm.
Little do they know what still lies ahead.
Oh dear, it scares even me.
Well, to go on with the story, there is not a sound anywhere.
Listen how quiet it is.
The giant peach is swaying gently from side to side, quietly, softly.
Not at all like airplanes that roar through the sky, pushing whatever is lurking up there in secret in the great cloud mountains back into the cover of the clouds.
That is why people who travel in airplanes never see anything.
But the peach.
Oh, yes, the peach makes no noise at all as it floats along.
Wait! Shh! Be quiet.
There, over there. Do you see them? I think our travelers are about to any moment.
Any second?
James? What are those things?
Oh, I don't like it at all!
Shh! Don't let them hear you. They must be cloud men.
Cloud men!
I'm glad I'm blind. I'd probably scream.
I hope they don't turn around and see us.
James? What are they doing?
It seems as if they are reaching out, grabbing handfuls of clouds, rolling them into their fingers and turning them into large white marbles. There's a huge pile of marbles.
They must be absolutely mad. There's nothing to be afraid of here.
Listen, they're singing something, and they're shoveling the marble-like things over the side of the cloud into space.
Down they go! Hail and snow! Freezes and sneezes and noses will blow!
It's hailstones! They've been making hailstones and now they're showering them down onto the people on the world below. They're probably practicing for the winter.
That's ridiculous! This is summertime. You don't have hailstones in summertime. I don't believe it.
For heaven's sake, Centipede, don't make so much noise.
Those imbeciles couldn't hear anything. They're deaf as doorknobs. You watch. Idiots!
Centipede!
Dingo tubes! Thunder eggs! What are you doing over there, dummies?
Now you've done it, you loathsome pest!
I'm not frightened of them!
Look out! Quick! Right up front the deck! They're throwing hailstones at us! Down the tunnel and we'll all be wiped out!
I'm a wreck! I'm wounded all over!
It serves you right!
Listen, I do believe they're not hitting us anymore.
You left them behind?
The seagulls must have pulled us up and out of danger! Hooray! Let's go up and see.
It's all clear. I can't see them anywhere.
How fast we are going all of a sudden. I wonder why.
I don't think the seagulls like this place any better than we do. I imagine they want to get out of here as soon as they can. They got a bad fright out of the hailstone throwing experience we just had.
Yes. Faster and faster fly the seagulls, skimming
across the sky at an immense pace,
with the peach trailing behind them.
Cloud after cloud goes by, and on either side of them.
And throughout the night, our travelers has caught glimpses of the cloud men moving along the tops of the clouds,
working
and
their sinister magic
on the world below. They pass a snow machine in operation with the cloudmen cranking the handles.
And a blizzard of snowflakes blowing out of the great funnel above.
They see huge drums being used for thunder.
They see frost factories and wind producers, and deep in the hollow of a large billowy cloud, something that can only be
the Cloudmen's City.
Just before dawn, they hear a soft whooshing noise above their heads, and they glance up to see an immense gray bat-like creature swooping down towards them out of the dark.
It circles round and round the peach, staring at our travelers. Then it let off long, high cries
and flies off again into the night. How terrifying! They all sit motionless.
Fearfully, they sit in silence, waiting for the sun as it comes up over the horizon for a new day.
Look! There's land below!
Whoa, it looks like streets and houses. But how enormous it all is. But what tremendous tall buildings. I've never seen anything like them before in England.
This cannot possibly be England.
Then where is it?
You know what those buildings are? Those are skyscrapers. This must be America. And that, my friends, means we've crossed the Atlantic Ocean overnight.
You don't mean it!
It's incredible! It's unbelievable!
It's not possible.
I've always dreamed of going to America. I had a friend once who...
No one cares about your friend. The thing we have to worry about is how on earth are we gonna get down to the earth.
Ask James.
Well, I don't think that should be so very difficult. All we'll have to do is cut loose a few seagulls. Not too many, mind you, but just enough so they can't quite keep us up in the air. Then, down we shall go, slowly and gently, until we reach the ground. Centipede will bite through the strings for us.
My goodness, I've forgotten to polish my boots! Everyone must help me polish my boots before we arrive.
For heaven's sake, can't you ever stop thinking about your feet?
Not. Go upstairs.
It's ridiculous. Stop whining. Did anyone hear that? What was that? What was it?
It looks like a plane. He came shooting out of that cloud over there.
What?
Wait.
Plane?
Oh no. It's unbelievable. It sliced right through every silken string as it went by.
What? We're falling! Before. James, quickly!
I'm not sure what to do. I'm sorry. I can't help us anymore. Everybody shut your eyes. We'll be long now.
Goodbye, everybody! Goodbye, Ladybird! Goodbye, Earthworm! I'm sorry that I always picked on you, even though you're blind as a bat!
Centipede! Iota. Oh, never mind. Goodbye, Centipede. I'm positive you're not that bad.
I don't believe it. We're not dead.
We're not dead?
No, it might be hard to believe, but I think we've landed on the needle of the Empire State Building.
You're kidding!
How will we get down?
Don't worry, they'll get us down.
James, who are all those people hanging out of windows cheering at us?
It's all those people down there on the street are waving madly.
Maybe they think we're heroes!
You know, you may be right. They think we're heroes.
James was right. Everyone on the beach is now considered a hero.
Especially James.
They were all brought down in 5 minutes and escorted to the steps of City Hall, where the mayor of New York made a speech of welcome.
And while he was doing this, 100 steeplejacks armed with ropes and ladders and pulleys hoisted the giant peach off the Empire State Building and lowered it to the ground.
Mayor decided that there just had to be a ticker tape parade for these wonderful visitors.
A procession was formed, and in the leading car,
Which was an enormous open limousine,
sat James and all of his friends.
Next came the giant peach itself.
Men with cranes and hooks had hoisted the giant peach onto a large truck, and there it now sat, looking just as huge and proud and brave as ever.
There was, of course, a bit of a hole on the bottom where the Empire State Building had gone in. But
Who cared about that?
or indeed about the peach juice that was now dripping about onto the street.
Behind the peach, skidding about all over the place, was the mayor's limousine, and behind that came about 20 other limousines, all carrying all of the important people of the city.
And the crowd went wild with excitement.
They screamed.
They cheered.
They yelled and clapped.
They threw tiny bits of white paper and ticker tape at James and all of his friends, who were moving along in the top of their cars, waving as they went by.
Then, a rather curious thing happened.
A little girl in a maroon dress ran out from the crowd and shouted,
Oh, James, can I please have a tiny taste of your marvelous peach?
Help yourself, he shouted back. Eat all you want. It won't keep forever anyway.
Children
To
came.
say, that was the beginning of the end for our splendid giant peach.
Children came from everywhere.
They jumped up onto the truck and swarmed like ants, eating and eating to their heart's content.
More and more boys and girls came running from all directions to join the feast.
Soon there was a trail a mile long of children waiting to join the feast.
It was a truly fantastic sight.
To some, it looked as though the Pied Piper of Hamelin had suddenly descended upon New York.
And to James, who could never believe that there could be this many children in the world, it was the most marvelous thing.
By the time the procession was over, the whole gigantic fruit had been completely eaten up, and all that was left standing was the big brown stone in the middle, licked clean and shiny by 10,000 eager little tongues.
And thus, the journey ended.
But the travelers lived on.
Each one of them becoming rich and successful in the new country.
the centipede was made vice president in charge of sales of a high-class boot and shoe manufacturer.
The earthworm, with her lovely pink skin, was employed by a company that made women's face creams for the radio.
The silkworm and spider, after they had been taught to make nylon thread instead of silk, set up a factory together and made rope for tightrope walkers.
The glowworm became the light inside of the Statue of Liberty, and thus saved a grateful city from an enormous electrical bill.
The old green grasshopper became a member of the New York Symphony Orchestra, where his playing was greatly admired.
The ladybug, who had been haunted all her life by the fear that her house was on fire and her children gone, married the head of the fire department and lived happily ever after.
And as for the enormous peach stone, it was set up permanently in place of honor in Central Park, and it became a famous monument.
But it was not only a famous monument, it was a famous house.
And inside the famous house lived a famous person.
James Henry Trotter himself.
And all you had to do any day of the week was go and knock upon the door, and the door would always be open to you.
And you could always ask James to tell and tell again his stories of his adventures on the peach.
In fact, one day James thought it would be nice if he wrote it out as a story for everyone to read. So he did.
And that is what you have just seen.